It seemed like a dream come true for her. However, as we started talking about the wedding plans, I noticed a change in her behavior. Mia began having very strong opinions about everything, from the venue to the guest list, and even what I should wear. It felt like she wanted to control every part of the wedding, making it more about her vision than ours. William was stuck in the middle, trying to keep both his mom and me happy, which made things even harder. As the wedding planning went on, the tension grew, and it started affecting my relationship with William. We began arguing about things that usually wouldn't bother us, all because we were trying to balance our wishes with Mia's expectations. I realized if we didn't deal with this soon, it could harm our future together. So, I suggested that William and I have a private talk to align our priorities and figure out how to handle the situation with Mia carefully. We agreed that our wedding should reflect what we both wanted and believed in. While we wanted to consider Mia's input, it was important for us to set clear boundaries. Together, we decided to sit down with Mia and gently but firmly explain our point of view. We hoped she would understand that while we valued her involvement, the final decisions would be ours. It was crucial for us to communicate openly to ensure our special day felt right for us as a couple. At first, it felt like a big moment, almost like I was gaining a new family member. Mia welcomed me warmly, eager to build a closer relationship. My excitement grew when she stayed with us for the weekend to help with wedding preparations and spend quality time together. I looked forward to bonding with her. However, as the weekend went on, her attitude began to change, and I started to feel uncomfortable. It began subtly on Saturday morning during breakfast. I made my favorite pancakes while William enjoyed his coffee outside. Mia smiled and commented, "Oh, I guess you don't worry too much about carbs, huh?" I laughed it off, but it hurt a little. Later, while looking through wedding dress catalogs, she pointed out a dress, saying it was beautiful but only suited for a certain body type, suggesting it wasn't for someone like me. I tried to brush it off, but her words made me feel self-conscious. During our shopping trip for decorations, Mia made another comment, this time about a friend's daughter who had lost weight for her wedding. She asked if I had considered doing the same. I was surprised and muttered something about being happy with my body, but her judgment was obvious. The next day, she went through my kitchen cupboards and remarked on the number of snacks I had, suggesting I should make healthier choices to avoid gaining weight before the wedding. Her constant focus on my weight was becoming upsetting. Even though her comments were always delivered with a smile and in a kind tone, they felt more and more pointed. What struck me the most was that she never made these remarks when William was around. When he was there, Mia was all charm and sweetness, but the moment he left the room, the criticism started again. It felt like I was living in two different worlds, one where I was loved, and another where I was constantly judged. At first, I didn't want to bring this up with William. We were newly engaged and so happy, and I didn't want to cause any problems. I told myself I could handle the situation. After all, I had always been proud of my curvy figure and confident in my own skin, something I had worked hard to achieve. Mia's comments were more annoying than truly hurtful, and I was determined not to let them affect my self-esteem. But as time went on, Mia's visits became more frequent, cutting into the limited time I had to plan our wedding on the weekends. Whenever I hoped to focus on wedding arrangements, Mia would show up either giving unwanted advice or just hanging around, making it harder for me to stay calm. Her constant presence was starting to stress me out, especially since she always seemed to imply she knew better than I did. One weekend, she called to say she'd be visiting again, and I felt a knot in my stomach. I really needed some alone time to get things organized without her input. Trying to stop her from coming, I mentioned I'd be out looking at wedding dresses. Unexpectedly, she got excited and insisted on coming along. I was caught off guard and didn't know how to refuse without sounding rude, so I had no choice but to agree. I agreed to let Mia come along, and when she arrived, she was very excited, but deep down, I was nervous about how the day would go. As we went to different bridal shops, Mia took on a motherly role, picking out dresses I didn't like and commenting on how certain styles didn't flatter my figure. It was overwhelming. When I finally tried on a dress I really loved, she said it was nice, but maybe too tight around the waist. She suggested I go for something more flowy, to be more flattering. Her comment crushed my excitement, making me second-guess my choice. By the end of the day, I hadn't picked a dress and felt disappointed. Mia went home, and I was relieved to have a break from her constant remarks. But soon after, she started texting, eager to know when I would go dress shopping again. I avoided answering her, determined to keep my next trip a secret. Unfortunately, William accidentally told his mom about my plans, and she quickly called to ask when she could join. Faced with another stressful day with her, I quickly made up an excuse, saying the bridal shop had a rule that only 3 guests were allowed, and my mom and maid of honor were already coming. Mia immediately questioned this strange policy, putting me on the spot. Flustered, I repeated the story and hurriedly ended the call. I felt guilty for lying to her, but I knew I needed to protect my own peace of mind. Even though I felt bad, I reminded myself that this day was supposed to be fun and exciting. I decided to focus on the positives and enjoy the support of my mom and maid of honor. When they picked me up, I put the guilt behind me and focused on having a good time. It didn't take long before I found a dress that felt perfect, almost like it was made just for me. Afterward, Mia stopped calling or texting me. She still spoke to William, which eased any tension between them, but she didn't reach out to me. In my excitement, I sent her a photo of me in the dress, hoping to share my happiness with her. Her only response was a thumbs up emoji. Unsure of how to feel about that, I chose not to dwell on her reaction. As the wedding got closer, my days became so busy with last-minute tasks that I didn't have time to think much about her. When the wedding day finally arrived, everything was perfect. Walking down the aisle toward William felt magical. However, William was too upset to listen to her explanations and demanded she leave immediately. I had never seen him so distressed, and it broke my heart to see him in conflict with his mom on what was supposed to be a joyful day. The mood of the reception quickly turned sour. Guests could sense the tension, and the celebratory atmosphere we had carefully planned vanished. People started leaving early, and soon the reception ended much sooner than expected. The abrupt end to what I had hoped would be a perfect day was devastating. William and I went back to our hotel room, completely drained by the day's events. The emotional toll was heavy, and I felt deeply saddened that what should have been one of the happiest days of my life had been tarnished. After the wedding, Mia tried reaching out to both William and me through texts and calls, but we were too hurt and needed time apart to process everything. William was clearly torn. He loved his mother, but felt deeply betrayed by what she had done. It was a complicated situation with no easy solution. When we returned home after the wedding, I tried to move forward and focus on starting this new chapter of life with William, but memories of that day kept coming back, filling me with regret and wondering what might have been if Mia hadn't pulled her risky prank. Thankfully, our honeymoon provided a much-needed break. We threw ourselves into new experiences, enjoying moments of pure happiness and companionship, free from the recent stress. For those 5 weeks, life felt wonderfully normal, but reality hit as soon as we returned. When we pulled into our driveway, Mia was waiting for us at the doorstep. My heart sank, and anxiety gripped me. I knew this confrontation was coming, but I wasn't ready for it to happen so soon. The worst part was that Mia didn't start with an apology. Instead, she continued to defend her actions, insisting that her prank was harmless and minimizing the seriousness of what she had done. Her refusal to accept responsibility made the conversation even harder. William had finally had enough. He confronted her, explaining that she had crossed a line, and the only way forward was for her to admit her mistake and apologize to me. Until then, he said, their relationship would be limited to holiday gatherings, like distant relatives who only see each other occasionally. Mia was shocked by his firm stance and started to cry, but William stood his ground. I could see how painful it was for him to set these boundaries with his own mother, but he remained steadfast in supporting me. I felt safe and respected with William's support, but things took an unexpected turn when Mia suddenly showed up outside my office one day, surprised and not wanting to cause a scene at work. I agreed to meet her at a small cafe across the street. She was visibly upset, and as soon as we sat down, she broke down in tears, catching the attention of other customers. Mia expressed her disbelief over William's firm stance, saying he wasn't answering her calls or texts. She begged me to talk to him and help restore their relationship to how it was before. However, she still hadn't apologized for what she did at the wedding, acting like it wasn't that serious. I told her that instead of showing up unannounced and making a scene in public, she should take time to think about how her actions had affected both me and William. I reminded her that she had ruined my wedding day, and it wasn't fair for her to expect me to just forget that and convince William to forgive her. When she tried to defend herself, saying she didn't mean any harm and was only sorry about how I reacted, it became clear that she didn't really understand the impact of what she had done. As Mia continued crying, drawing more attention in the cafe, I felt increasingly uncomfortable and just wanted to leave. I told her I would see what I could do, but I didn't make any promises about fixing things between her and William. I left the cafe, still unsure if I could forgive her. Her apology only came after I pushed her for it, which made me hesitant. My mom advised me to forgive my mother-in-law, but I still felt conflicted. What do you all think I should do in this situation?